What do you mean repeating? This is a whole new team. We got many new players. You can't, you don't just all of a sudden, there really is no such thing as a repeat. You're just trying to win the next game and then see how that all unfolds. But Kirby Smart was on deck. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Kirby Smart earlier today, we'll let you hear that in its entirety next, because they are the defending two-time national champions. It's coming up. It's the Thom Abraham Show. We are live on location on a Tuesday, media day style, SEC kickoff style, on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. You know what?
You're listening to SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Thom Lugendorf here from my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take the department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful
so I'll set
new
it up and then
lanes.
send it to
just like a championship.
Ready to sell and offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Distorted bad. This is the one that Drew was on to. I just switched over to 1 from 4, and Chad said totally different. We got to get this one out of service. For who? Oh yes, yeah, definitely. Can we get him over? When are you going to do it? Right? A couple of minutes. Okay. All right, hold on. We're going to hold up. We're going to shift gears. We got a player. that you are with us. So we just spent a couple of minutes setting you up for Kirby Smart, and just as we do that, and I've told you this in the past, that these shows are very much in flux. You never know what's going to fall out. And Cam Stutz is going to join us here in just a few minutes. Cam Stutz, who played for Brooks back in the day and led them to the Alabama State Class 5A playoffs, is now an offensive lineman for the Auburn Tigers, 6'5", 343-pounder out of Killen, Alabama. And he is, last year he became he won the job for the starting right guard position during the preseason camp, and we'll talk to him about the way it has been so far this year with Hugh Freeze and the differences in the camp and so on. And, you know, players never want to talk negatively about the old guy, but, you know, this would be interesting to get his take on what is going on now and how things are developing at Auburn. So Cam Stutz will be coming over here to join us here in just a few minutes. He is, of course, a Huntsville guy and or a North Alabama guy, and we'll see now just as he's being hijacked from us. So we vamp, Grizz. You know how that works. Grizz is ready with the Kirby Smart, but we vamp. And Cam is going to work his way over here in just a couple of moments, and we'll get a chance to talk to him. He played in the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game. He was a two-time first-team All-State player, and he's going to join us now here for a couple of moments. And grab that headset right there, young man, and we'll get you all set up. Cam Stutz joining us from Brooks High School in Auburn. How you doing, man? I am good. Hang on one second here. Let me get you potted up. Go ahead. So how are you?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. And so are you enjoying the car wash here? Is this a pretty cool thing?
No, yeah, it's definitely it's a lot going on. I'm just honored to be here and that I was selected to come here and represent the Auburn family. It's just a big honor. So you're on in North Alabama right now. Of course, we're broadcasting on 97.7 ESPN The Zone in North Alabama. And how important is it for you to represent the Tennessee Valley in North Alabama and the time you had at Brooks and everything else when you're down there at Auburn? It means everything to me. Coming up in that family atmosphere, that small town, that's what I was looking for whenever I came to college. So coming to Auburn and it's basically the same thing. You got that small family atmosphere and everybody's really close, and just to come here and represent. And I love everybody back home, so shout out to them.
So you become a starting offensive lineman last year,
sir.
You know, and of course you have the turmoil, the coaching change right in the middle of the season. First, take me through the energy that Cadillac brought to the locker room, because you guys finished, you know, pretty well, and Cadillac had you all fired up. He's running up and down the sideline like a madman. Just talk about what that was like in that moment.
It was one of the best experiences I've had in college football. I know Cadillac's an Auburn man. He loves Auburn, so I know that was a big opportunity for him, and I think he did a really good job just going out there and battling with my teammates, and whenever things aren't going how you want them to, just going out there with a group of guys that you've been working with all year and just getting it done.
So then Coach Freeze gets hired. How important was it to you and the guys in the room that he kept Cadillac around?
I think around in Auburn, that was really big for everybody. I mean, he's an Auburn man. That's the picture right there. It don't get any more Auburn than that. So I think everybody was super excited that he got to stay.
How has it been during this offseason and during the training and things like that with Hugh Freeze? Just kind of give us pull back the curtain a little bit for the listeners of what it's like, what's different about a Hugh Freeze coach team.
I think he's doing a really good job focusing on the details, getting everybody to buy in. Everybody's working really hard, lots of new guys around, and I think building that chemistry and those relationships is really big too. So,
you know, he brings in Peyton Thorne as a transfer quarterback. Robbie Ashford is still there, obviously. For you guys, are you comfortable with whatever the way that this decision goes, or does that? Do you ever fear that splits the locker room a little bit, that these are the Robbie guys and these are the Peyton guys?
No, I think everybody's excited about it. I think all the quarterbacks are doing a really good job, and we'll have that competition during the fall and see who wins the job. But I don't think there's any sort of animosity towards it. Everybody's doing a really good job. I know Peyton and Robbie and Holden, they all hang out all the time. So I'm just really excited about it, and we'll get after it in the fall.
Most guys that are guards, and I coached offensive line for a little short period of time, you like putting your hand in the dirt, man, and just rolling off the ball, knocking somebody off the ball a little bit, that kind of deal. do you feel like you get a little bit, people think of Hugh Freeze and they think of the high-flying offense, fast, moving the ball all around, but do you feel like you still get the opportunity, especially with Hunter, Jacques Hunter being back as a running back, he's ready to break out, that you're going to get that opportunity to kind of knock some people around a little bit?
Yeah, for sure, definitely that. We're at Auburn, I think running the football is always going to be one of the staple points, so definitely going to be having some of that going on.
Tell me about the facilities. I know there's been some upgrades. It's pretty sweet down there.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. And we got this moon pool in the training room, and it's like a lazy river in there. We get to go hang out in there, and all the tubs and locker room's nice. It's amazing. It's really a blessing.
Now, if you guys don't practice well, does Freeze say, "Hey, I'm gonna take away the moon pool"?
Nah. That's for recovery, so we can't get rid of that.
You don't get the lazy pool, man. If you don't do it right.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're representing the Tennessee Valley well. We appreciate you. Wish you the best of luck this season as you guys build something new over there, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you.
War Eagle.
That's Cam Stutz. Dropping that War Eagle for you, Chad. That was specifically for you because he knows. He asked me ahead of time. He said, "Isn't your producer a big War Eagle guy?" And oh yeah, are you kidding me? That's he's a big dude when it comes to that. All right, exactly. All right, I'll tell you what, Grizz, it's going to be tight to get Kirby in, isn't it? It would be tight to get him in here. I'll tell you what. Let's do this. All right, let's take a break so we can stay on schedule here. I want to get Kirby's. At least his opening comments in, and we can take them through to the point where we get to the question and answer period. So let's get a break in here, and when we come back, we'll play that Kirby Smart's opening comments here at SEC Media Days on the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air back in studio with us. And Thomas, those temperatures in the summertime starting to rise once again. You want to make sure you're not left out in the heat. You want some cold AC, give Talent Heating and Air a call.
That's right. If you give us a call, we can generally get out there the same day. So we pride ourselves on the same-day service.
And what's that number?
256-503-4490.
And if those AC units are giving you the blues and you've already called someone else, never fear, give Talent Heating and Air a call because you guys can still come out.
That's right. We do free second opinions on major repairs and quotes. A lot of times we save our customers thousands of dollars and additionally get their
Toyotas to choose from, and they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyota-thon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
You said how many minutes was it? That in, right? And welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Here at SEC Media Days. Georgia, Auburn, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State on tap today. And earlier today, it was Kirby Smart who got things going after Clark Lee spoke. Kirby Smart spoke, and this was his opening statement.
Bulldogs, Kirby Smart. Appreciate that, Greg, and all your leadership. Then I want to thank you guys. I also want to issue you the greatest challenge that has ever been issued to the media group here. I thank you for what you do, but your challenge today is to get more than 3 sentences out of Brock Bowers, which we have not been able to do in 3 years. So if you can get him to talk, it'll be a great challenge for you, and see if you can get it done. 19 of my 25 years coaching has been served in the SEC footprint. I think that's pretty cool. And you can actually go 24 of 30 when you include the 5 years that I played at Georgia. But 19 of the 25 years has been in that footprint. I'm very comfortable in that footprint. I enjoy the SEC footprint. Listening to Commissioner Sankey yesterday talk about all the accolades of this conference. I mean, I love it. I love going to see or seeing 2 baseball programs in the SEC finals. The women's basketball, our conference dominant. All the spring sports that we compete in seem so dominant. I love and embrace SEC athletics. So I want to give a quick thanks to all our fan bases. I mean, the SEC is just different. And when you think about the fan bases in our conference, they make it what it is. They allow us to recruit to the largest attendance in the country, and it makes our job much easier when you're in the best conference there is in the country. So this offseason, how have I spent this offseason? I think when I think about that, the first thing I think about is July, because the only time that we have anything off as coaches is end of June and July. And my family and I went on a family vacation there for about a week in July, and then I got to enjoy what my mother started about 13 years ago, and she's so proud of. She calls it Julymas. Julymas is Christmas in July. And because we have bowl games as coaches, we don't get to kind of celebrate Christmas as a family. So we bring my brother's family, my sister's family, my parents, 8 grandchildren, all under one roof for 3 to 4 days. And my parents absolutely love it. I don't know that my wife always does, but my family really enjoys it, and we get to have a good time. I also got to spend 5 days in the SEC footprint in Mississippi. Travel baseball dad, which is fun and exhilarating, but my wife wants to go to Italy and the Amalfi Coast, and instead we spent it in Mississippi for 5 days in South Haven. And I enjoyed every minute of that, and getting to be a travel baseball dad's something I enjoy. But our staff, our team, our university, our entire Dog Nation went through one of the highest of highs in January, which was to win back-to-back CFP championships, which had never been done. We then endured the loss of 2 dear family members, Devin Willick and Chandler LaCroix. We love them and we miss them. So many people have stepped up for our players within our organization during this time of need. One of the toughest things I've ever been through as a coach was to experience that. But some of the leadership that really helped us, we have a rising star in our athletic department in Doris Griffin. She's been there for me, our players, and so many others during these tough times. She's our senior deputy director of athletics and the sport facilitator for football. Thomas Settles, our team chaplain. What an incredible asset he has been for both our players, our coaches, and people in our organization. You know, a tragedy can either divide or unite us. I'm proud of our players. It has definitely brought them closer together and united our team and our family. So a while back, I was sent something I thought was pretty unique. And I was actually at my desk the other day combing through some things, and it literally hit me right between the eyes as I looked at it. It's a Post-it note that was posted. I'd gotten this probably a couple years ago, and it was posted behind my seat at my desk. And I think anyone can tell you the benefits of great leaders. Anybody can tell you what it looks like. They can tell you what leadership can do for you. They can tell you how to develop leadership. There's tons of books written on great leaders and leadership. But you won't see, and what you will never see, is people talk about the costs of leadership and costs associated with leadership, I should say. If we truly want to be honest and upfront about leadership, you can't ignore the cost of leadership. Great leaders are willing to accept those costs. And I want to share quickly three of those things. 3 of the costs that are plastered on my desk right behind it that kind of caught me between the eyes last week. Number 1, you will have to make hard decisions that negatively affect people you care about. Number 2, you will be disliked despite your best attempt to do the best for the most. And number 3, you will be misunderstood and won't always have the opportunity to defend yourself. Those are 3 costs that come from being a great leader. And the reason I share these 3 costs are exactly what the 3 players we brought from UGA represent. They don't fear those costs. That's the reason we decided to bring them. They accept those costs and they embrace those costs, and it's not hard for them to see the benefit of those costs as leaders of our team. I want to talk real quick about those guys. Brock Bowers, junior tight end from Napa, California. We all know about his phenomenal athleticism. He's got a 3.45 GPA in finance. I remind him constantly that's 5.05, right behind where I was as a finance major at Georgia. So it's the only thing I've been able to beat Brock at. But Brock is unique. He's easily the quietest, hardest worker I've ever been around. And it's such a joy to bring him today because see him squirm on that plane and be uncomfortable and think about having to talk to you guys. I'm so excited to see his growth he gets from visiting with you guys and getting to enjoy it. But I wanted to kind of share a quick story on Brock that I think epitomizes who he is. So our all-season conditioning program, we have these things called boxes. It's part of our program. We do run in boxes. You got to run down one side of the field, and then you jog across the end zone, and then you got to run, sprint the other side. So one day, I don't think these tight ends would claim for this to be true, but one day our younger tight ends had decided that they were going to finally get Brock. They were going to beat Brock on the boxes. So they took turns, which you're not supposed to do, running as fast as possible down the straightaway, the 100 yards you run down the straightaway. And they were going to eventually beat Brock because while one of them was sprinting, one of the others would be resting, and they had to try to beat Brock. Well, not only did Brock win every one of those races, he beat every single one of them turn by turn by turn while they rested and waited up, and they just couldn't beat the old vet. And it just shows his work ethic and how hard he competes at everything he does and does it with silence. Next guy I'll bring up is Kamari Lassiter. Kamari Lassiter is a junior corner for us who I have tremendous respect for. He is a 2.7 GPA, sports management. Brock Bowers, they are what we call COVID babies. They came in during the COVID class. And I shared this earlier. I think it's very unique to our place. We signed 20 high school players the COVID year. 17 of those 20 are still in our program. That's hard to find anywhere in the country. They didn't get to go on visits. They didn't get to go on official visits. These guys are the core leadership group of our team, that 17 of 20, which would be a junior class if they weren't redshirted. But Kamari's part of that class too. Kamari's got a great personality. He loves competition. He's fierce. He's a great tackler. I mean, this guy must have sent us 800 videos of himself during COVID because he wanted to prove he was worthy of a Georgia scholarship, and he earned that. Something else I'll share on Kamari that I think is unique, I sat in his skull session because I move around when we have these meetings, and he was talking about his why. And it really kind of hit me in the heart, man. It hit me right in the gut when he talked about his mom, Miss Cammie, and how much she sacrificed so that he could go to the best high school, private school, and get the best education, how many jobs she worked, how she slept on the couch at his auntie's house, an incredible job that Kamari did, explaining this, making himself vulnerable to the rest of our team and our players. Just love Kamari and everything he stands for and how he practices and how he leads our team. Then the last guy would be Cedric Van Pran, senior center in New Orleans. He is an art and design major, and he wanted me to emphasize that. That's really unique.
All right. and there were no good questions. There really weren't. There were no good questions, so you heard what Kirby had to say. All right, we'll take a break here, and when we come back, we'll get you set up for Gary Danielson from CBS Sports. He'll be joining us in just a few moments right here, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air back in studio with us. And Thomas, those temperatures in the summertime starting to rise once again. You want to make sure you're not left out in the heat. You want some cold AC, give Talent Heating and Air a call.
That's right. If you give us a call, we can generally get out there the same day. So we pride ourselves on the same-day service.
And what's that number?
256-503-4490.
And if those AC units are giving you the blues and you've already called someone else, never fear, give Talent Heating and Air a call because you guys can still come out.
That's right. We do free second opinions on major repairs and quotes. A lot of times we save our customers thousands of dollars and additionally get their units repaired before the other guy could even get started.
And that number for Talent Heating and Air is?
256-503-4490.
And if you can't give Talent Heating and Air a call, you can find them online at
talenthvac.com.
Schedule all your appointment service calls there. Talent Heating and Air. Give them a call or find them online today.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
You've got to experience Toyota-thon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyota-thon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Am I rolling right into Gary? Or can I roll right into Gary? Okay. Welcome back, Tom Abraham Show, SEC Kickoff, SEC Media Days. I don't know what to call it anymore. We used to call it SEC Media Days, but now everything says SEC Kickoff. They don't even use that term Media Days anymore. But we are joined now by an outstanding color commentator. He is a lightning rod. I know a lot of you said that he apparently hates every team in the SEC, and he is a honk for every team in the SEC. I think that's the way it is, and that means he's doing a good job. He's Gary Danielson from the SEC on CBS and the Big Ten on CBS. Gary, welcome in. How are you?
My pleasure. It's a little bittersweet. As you mentioned, we found out, almost 3 years ago that we were going to be lame ducks for a while, and this wraps it up. But I thought it was really important for us to be here in this last year.
Yeah, it actually kind of surprised me a little bit. Well, two things surprised me. One, I thought that at some point in time there would be some kind of buyout. I didn't think you guys were going to make the 3 years.
I know everybody thought that.
But you did, and that's fantastic. But I thought this year, what are the chances of seeing the CBS guys that kind of, mailing it in? But I give you a lot of credit. Ness is right across the way from us, and I've seen some of the other guys from the crew. Zuck is here and so on, and I think that's great.
I think so. And I was really adamant about that a few months ago when we were discussing. I go, come on, it's not my style. We got to walk in there finish this thing the right way. I don't want to pretend we played a major part, but CBS was an important part of this explosion of the SEC conference. Back in the day, the vision that someone had, at that point, it was a plum for the SEC to grab CBS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and wow, they had a nationally televised game, standalone game for a regional sport, for a network to take it. A lot of people thought CBS was nuts for doing it. Well, then it flipped. It became, CBS had a bargain.
Yeah, it turned out one of the best deals in
exactly.
TV history. Yeah.
So, but we're very proud of our presentation of a product that is very important to a lot of people. We understand this conference in football. I think people in the Southeast, after they get done showing the pictures of their family, they start showing the pictures of their stadium.
Yeah.
And so we never lost sight of the fact that we were broadcasting something that was very important to a lot of people, and I think we've held up our end of the bargain.
It's so passionate here in the South.
Right.
And you and I are both I'm from the Northeast, and you're from, the Big Ten country up there, but we both have been in the South for years and years and adopted it as our home. It's so passionate down here that you should have heard the uproar when CBS started running some Big Ten on CBS promos, and they used the same music, and we're like, whoa, that's SEC music. People didn't realize, no, that's just CBS music. But it was like, that's our song. Don't be using this SEC song.
Well,
that's how passionate people are.
I'll let you have this. You can have a poll if you want. I've heard, or I've offered, that I think there could be a deal done with the commissioner and CBS that I think there's a way to get the song and keep it if they want, but they got to keep me.
Yeah. They got to keep you.
I think. Well, I don't think they're going to do that.
That brings up a good point. You guys you always pick up your SEC coverage around week 3.
Right.
So you guys are actually, you and Brad will start out doing a couple of
Big Ten games right.
To start out. And you're Purdue. People that don't know, you're a quarterback at Purdue. You and Brad did Big Ten games for ESPN years ago. So that's kind of your deal. How much has it rejuvenated you personally? Because you can kind of see the end when you might want to get out of this business. But how much has it rejuvenated you to look forward to doing a Big Ten conference that has, at least this year, 3 real legit title contenders?
I think so. I've got to be honest with you. It really hasn't changed. I mean, I'm such a grinder. I was a kind of a mutt in the NFL, and I just had it became my personality. And then I was really lucky in 1990. I landed a gig. I mean, my very first game was #1 Miami against BYU. Ty Detmer won the Heisman in that game, threw for 500 yards. I've had top-level games this will be my 34th year. I've never taken it for granted. Yeah. I've always worked hard at it. I understand. I yell at the announcers, too, when I'm watching games. I get it. I don't. And I've never believed that I knew everything. It's like putting together a new puzzle every week. So I've enjoyed it. So it's not going to be any different for me. And I think it's because I never really pretended to be more than I am. I didn't never pretended to be. I'm SEC expert. I'm an SEC guy. I just love country music and going to the Grove. I didn't pretend to be that. I stayed in my lane, did the X's and O's, and so I'll look forward to do the games. Somebody asked the question, are you going to miss this when you leave? And I said no for a reason. I've had a great run, as you said. I've been really lucky. 17 years, 13 national championships, 250-ish games that I've done, and I'll bet there hasn't been 10 that didn't have national championship implications. There's some people that have made more money doing this, but for the last 17 years, nobody's had a better job than I have.
I just want you to understand going in is that you're not going to lead the Big Ten to 13 national championships in the next 17 years.
I'm pretty aware of that.
It's not going to happen. Okay?
Well, when I took this job,
one here or there. Come on.
When I took this job, people, I've even have the article questioning why I would leave ABC doing national championship games, and I could have stayed. I was actually off. It was a better deal to stay. But I said, I just got a feeling I need something different. You know, the helicoptering in and doing a Big 12 game, and then an ACC game, and then a Big 10 game, and then a Big 10 game, and then a pack. I just felt like I was doing the game out of the media book. I wanted to get into doing a conference again, and I knew I was giving up national championships, and I said, I think it's going to swing. I predict the the SEC will win 5 out of the next 10. I was wrong. It was 8 in a row. 8 in a row.
Yeah, exactly. Gary Danielson with us here. So this year, as I said, you guys will start with a couple of Big Ten games.
Yeah, we're Ohio State at IU, and then UNLV at Michigan, and then we're going to go South Carolina, Georgia.
As the season unfolds, can you see a scenario where, based on the bigger game, that you and Brad might do other Big Ten games as the season goes along? Or do you think once you start SEC, you're SEC the rest of the way this year?
I honestly don't know. I doubt it. I'm pretty sure we'll be 99% will be SEC games. You know,
So if Michigan...
We wouldn't get that game.
Michigan, Ohio State.
We wouldn't get.
We
wouldn't
get
that
It'll be a
game.
Fox. I was going to say, because if that's 1-2, and the Iron Bowl is
right,
4 and unranked, you know, which one are you doing? You know, that,
I gotta believe that
the Fox will get that.
The Fox will
It'll
take the Michigan Ohio State game.
The big Fox game, yeah. It's been fascinating to watch and to watch your work. And as I said in the open, you're a Florida honk. Everybody knows you love Tebow, the Florida Gators. You hate Alabama. No, you hate LSU. No, you love. That's when you know you're doing the job, right? When you're getting a balance of love and hate, you know, from the fans.
I watch the replays and I make mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm prepared, but I mess up names. Sometimes say that they're going to run the ball to the left because last time in this situation they ran the ball to the left, and somebody, when I watch it over, I go, no, they ran the ball to the right, you idiot. I get it. You know, you make mistakes. But all in all, Tom, the only thing that bothers me about it on the Twitter side of it is that it's all about me. And it takes away from my team. We've got 70 people that bust their butt to cover this conference as well as they can. And I honestly telling you this from the bottom of my heart, if it was all how great I am, I would dislike it just as much. We are a team that put it together. I've been so lucky. You know, I had Vern, now Brad again. Brad and I started the noon Big Ten game together in 1992. We were there when Barry Alvarez built Wisconsin, when nobody went to those.
Right.
It was so bad at Wisconsin, they actually sold a home game to Tokyo because they didn't think they were going to have enough people to do a game. Wow. Okay, they played a game in Tokyo instead, and Brad and I did the game. So it's been a charmed broadcasting, but as far as the Twitter part of it, sure, everybody likes to be liked. But I mostly avoid, and I also chose not to fight back. That's for you guys on talk radio to fight back.
You can't win that. You can't win. Even us on talk
chose
radio,
not
you
to.
cannot win it because it's the keyboard warriors, as we call it.
Yeah, I don't want to.
You
I
can't win that.
didn't want to win it. It's their sport. I'll do my job, stick to my lane, but I did feel bad that our guys would put out a tremendous product. Our product is really good. I've played a part in that. In the production end of it, too. There's certain angles and camera and replays that I've designed myself that enhances
People
the
don't
broad.
even know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah. But we are very proud of what we've produced, and I hate it being all about me.
Do you find, I've talked to John Smoltz about this, and you watch a game that he's doing, and sometimes it's all about the pitching.
Yeah,
and he has to kind of go away from that intentionally because he looks at everything from if a guy gets a hit, it was a bad pitch. Do you find,
I don't,
as a former quarterback, that you focus on quarterback play?
I don't.
Okay, you work in the defense
as much as you can? I think I've...
it's been a minute. I mean, it's been a minute since you took a snap,
it's hard not to.
Yeah.
It's hard when you've got Tebow or Cam or Bryce Young or Tua, when the storyline is Stetson Bennett or Joe Burrow or Hendon Hooker or Johnny Football, it's hard not to talk. He gets the ball every play. It's hard not to. But I think we do a good job of covering the breadth of the game.
Isn't that the way? One thing I love about the college game is still there is a room for running games, especially with the teams that are at the very, very top. But that's kind of the way football has changed. It was never, you go back to when you were playing, the running back was such a key part of the game, and the quarterback was often, he was a facilitator and all of that, play action down the field. Now it's all about the quarterback, and we see in the NFL, Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs are turning down contracts. They're going to hold out because $10 million a year isn't enough because they don't pay running backs anymore. Folks in our part of the country would love to see the running game come back to Alabama, and I think that's what's going to happen.
I don't think there's any doubt. I can remember, help me with which one it was. Alabama was playing Georgia in the SEC Championship 13-14, something like that. And at the end of the game, they're starting to pound Georgia. And Todd Grantham pulls over the Georgia defense, and they're all looking at him, and Grantham doesn't write anything down. And I pretend that I was Todd, and he's telling him, and I go, I can tell you, Vern or Brad, whoever it was, I go, he's telling him, it's not X's and O's, they're kicking your ass is what's happening. Well, now that's shifted a little bit to Georgia. Now, there's reasons for it. Alabama had a run of receivers that you just had to use, from Waddle to Smitty to, to just the whole thing, even Mechie and Williams. I mean, they had 6 NFL receivers, and they morphed a little bit. But I think Alabama is going to go back to try to find a 2 tight end, try to find that balance. Remember those years when McElroy and Coker, they were balanced. I mean, they would come within they were coming within 100 yards on the season of running past yards. Right. And I think they're going to try to get that back.
We had a trivia question. We were talking about the hype for Justice Haynes, the running back that Alabama has. It looks like a man-child. I mean, he's going to be something. But the last 1,000-yard rusher as a true freshman for Alabama was T.J. Yeldon. Yeah. And here was the money shot. He wasn't the leading rusher on that team.
For sure.
Remember, that was Eddie Lacy. Yeah. Eddie Lacy, so they had 2,000-yard rushers. Last year, they leading rusher at 700 yards. I mean, so it's a different animal.
It's really difficult now with this new RPO rule. I mean, Nick changed his plan with that RPO pass that Nick Marshall hit against him at the end of the game, where he hit that to tie the game up. Basically, Nick said, wait, that's legal? I'm doing that. He brought in Lane right after that, it's I think they're going to be a little different. I think he's going to try to play a little more complementary football to protect his defense a little bit more and shorten the game.
Who retires first, Gary Danielson or Nick Saban?
We're the same age. So I like the Mount Rushmore. one of these guys doesn't belong. Okay, we're all the same age within a month of each other. Nick, myself, Belichick, and Pete Carroll. One of those names doesn't belong up there.
Mac Brown.
He's a little older, I think, isn't he?
Only by 2 months.
Right, is he? Is he there too?
Because when he was out for a minute, Nick became the oldest coach in FBS, and now Mac's got. Yeah. Mac is August, and Nick is October. So that's the difference in
well,
age.
I mean, Nick's ability to create the CEO Nick Saban is what has changed. Now everybody, Kirby's done it now. It's not just coaching anymore. You have to build everything, analysts, recruiting, facilities. Nick demanded and saw the vision of building the whole program, and that's now what everybody's trying to emulate. So when they say Nick Saban is the greatest college coach ever, I go, no, it's not coach. That's not the word. It's CEO.
Yeah, Irk Russell may be the greatest coach. Who knows?
Who knows?
The guy's
right, exactly.
Coach, and finally, the thing that shocked me the most about Alabama last year, because they were everybody's pick. They had the best offensive player, best defensive player, supposed to win the national championship. The thing that was mind-boggling to watch was 15 penalties at LSU, 17 penalties at Tennessee. It was like, what the heck is going on? If it wasn't Nick Saban's team and if it wasn't those guys, you would say, this is a poorly coached team. This is an undisciplined team, and that was the thing I think we'll see get cleaned up.
So, you may be right. I don't know.
126th in the country.
I know you may be right. My position on it was one of the underrated parts of the Alabama run was how clutch they were in games, because they're always going to get everybody's best shot. I mean, whether they were playing Mississippi State or whatever, sometimes that drag of winning every game year after year after year, I thought for the first time this was a team that wasn't clutch, and it showed up in penalties. They felt the pressure of trying to be Alabama. For the first time, I used to see, LSU and A&M and Georgia make those mistakes, and for the first time to me, it wasn't undisciplined. It was trying to do too much. The composure of the team was not there. They're being coached the same, but I thought these guys felt the pressure of the social media, the whole thing. For the first time, Alabama's players didn't produce like they used to.
I was thinking about you the other night. My wife had fallen asleep, and we were in bed, and I was watching YouTube, and I was watching the highlights of the 1989 Browns season when all your quarterbacks got hurt.
Right.
And they watched them helping you off the field.
I know. I broke my ankle.
You broke your ankle. They're helping you off the field. They're bringing 100-year-old Don Stock and all that stuff. And
I felt. I'll tell you, it's one of the regret. People are going to say, "Are you going to miss this?" And I said no. I've had a run. Come on. I mean, it's time. I knew it was coming. But the main reason when I dream or I don't see an announcer, I see a football player still when I look in the mirror. I'm a football player at heart, and I
haven't had a whistle around my neck in 25 years.
Yeah, you're still a coach.
I still feel like a coach. I got guys that coach that refer to me as coach.
I know
because they do that.
I've been lucky, but it's been great. But
you'll feel it. You'll feel it that first Saturday in December.
Probably
that's gonna feel a little melancholy.
Well, I know for Vern and Brent, and probably Ness, they'll feel it. But I think when I move away, I'll look back and say, God, it's like I've done over 500 some games. I don't know if anybody's.
You're not retiring though.
But I am
forward. Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But now, however it ends, it ends. But I don't know if anybody's ever done more college games than I have.
Probably not.
Do
you get to talk to Vern much?
It was his birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
I know Brad Tech. I didn't know it. Brad, he's unbelievable with his memory about that stuff. But I do.
I enjoy him out of golf still.
Yeah, I send him pictures.
Yeah.
I send him stuff. So, yes, I do.
That's good stuff.
You
Gary
got
Danielson.
Thank you.
Good to see you again, Gary.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. That's Gary Danielson. It's always fun. And Gary's come on this show for years. I mean, there were times, we would get him not just at SEC Media Days, that we would have the opportunity to talk to him at other times as well. All right, and by the way, that's the second time on our air today, which happens very rarely, but we're going to have to send him a check pretty soon if it goes anymore. All right, we'll get a break. When we come back, Gary Stokan is scheduled next from the Peach Bowl and the new Aflac kickoff game. We'll talk to him next right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air back in studio with us. And Thomas, those temperatures in the summertime starting to rise once again. You want to make sure you're not left out in the heat. You want some cold AC? Give Talent Heating and Air a call.
That's right. If you give us a call, we can generally get out there the same day. So we pride ourselves on same-day service.
And what's that number?
256-503-4490.
And if those AC units are giving you the blues and you've already called someone else, never fear. Give Talent Heating and Air a call because you guys can still come out.
That's right. We do free second opinions on major repairs and quotes. A lot of times we save our customers thousands of dollars and additionally get their units repaired before the other guy could even get started.
And that number for Talent Heating and Air is?
256-503-4490.
And if you can't give Talent Heating and Air a call, you can find them online at
talenthvac.com.
Schedule all your appointment service calls there. Talent Heating and Air. Give them a call or find them online today.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details. Hey, I'm gonna spin it around to you, Gary. Minutes past the top of the hour, but that's just the way things fall out. Now, Gary Stokan is scheduled to join us here in a few moments, and we're going to have an opportunity to talk to him from the FLAC Kickoff Classic and, of course, the Peach Bowl, and things are changing rapidly with the 12-team playoff coming and so on. So talking to Gary Stokan is going to be significant. And we're also going to have Hugh Freeze, who is just wrapping up his comments in the main media room. We're going to have that for you as well in a few moments. So we still got a lot to do here before we get to the end of this show today. We're going to break in here. We'll come back. Gary Stokan scheduled next on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
And welcome back, SEC Media Days, SEC Kickoff, whatever you want to call it. Nashville is where we are at. It's the Thom Abraham Show. We'll have some Hugh Freeze comments coming up here in just a few minutes for you. But joining us now from the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and the Aflac Kickoff Classic, it is Gary Stokan. Gary, welcome. How are you?
Tom, great to see you. I know when I see you, it's football season.
And
by the way, great job. You're the first guy who picked up on the Aflac.
I was going to say, we've been working on Aflac. I mean, you got to get that. You got to get that right.
That's right.
That might be the thing. Maybe in the hype video or something, get the players, to say Aflac.
Yeah, there you go.
And who has the best Aflac? Who has the best duck or whatever
exactly.
that thing is, goose or a duck
it's
or whatever.
A duck.
Now
we've gone from a cow to a duck.
My
Chick-fil-A to Aflac.
That's true. You have. Now, my youngest son now works for the radio station as well. He thinks that when I played football, I wore the leather helmet. So the question is, when are you going to bring the friggin' leather helmet down here? We've been doing this long enough now. I want a picture with the leather helmet.
Well, next year we'll bring it.
Bring the leather helmet.
Next year we got Georgia and Clemson. We will bring the leather helmet.
Bring the leather helmet.
And you will see your dad
in the leather
like his old pictures.
I tell him
where he did the Heisman pose with the old leather helmet.
Yeah, I told him. Right. After practice, I take my
That's
helmet.
why his nose looks like that.
I take my helmet off, fold it up, and put it in my back pocket. After
well, it's
practice.
funny you say that, though. When we brought the Hall of Fame to Atlanta and started the kickoff game format, I wanted some trophy that could be interactive like the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And I wanted to harken back to the old days with the Hall of Fame. And so the old leather helmet, that's what we created to be the trophy.
So Chick-fil-A is still involved, obviously, with the Hall, but with the
and the
Peach
Bowl.
That's the key to Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. And bringing in Aflac, what a perfect partner for the Kickoff Classic with Aflac. They've already had, of course, folks in our area, they know they love the Nick Saban, Deion Sanders commercials as well. And there's some other college guys that they bring in there. Mike Krzyzewski, I know, is doing them now too. But it just seemed like a natural, being that you're in Atlanta and everything else.
Well, they're a Georgia company, number one. Number two, they're invested in college football, as you just mentioned. Number three, they gave $168 million to start the Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorder Center at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
Right.
We, in 2019, gave $20 million to find cures and start trials to eradicate childhood cancer. So we both have that community interest in mind. And the kickoff games take place during September, which is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So we've united to find more ways to raise more money to find cures for childhood cancer. We currently have 12 trials going on with our money and 37 kids in those trials.
Wow.
And one of the trials for leukemia, it's moving to its second phase where they've tested it in animals, tested it in adults. Now they're going to start testing it in kids. And if that succeeds, they're going to open up nationwide to another trial. And if that works well, it could be an FDA drug. So that's our goal, is to get that drug to the end zone and find a way to give a kid another day, another month, another year, or another life that he may not have had. So, we're using college football to do the greater good.
Yeah, that's a tremendous story. And then as for the Peach Bowl, I think I've told you this in the past. The first bowl game I ever went to was the 1993 Peach Bowl, which was the first one at the old Georgia Dome.
So is that Baylor?
No, it is North Carolina.
Oh, at the Dome?
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State, yeah.
North
the
Carolina,
cowbells.
It was the first one at the Dome.
Natrone Means. And
Means had a great game. It was a big comeback in the game. I was a coach here then, and we were in Atlanta for the American Football Coaches Association coaching. The AFCA was there, and so they gave us tickets, and it was, lack of a better word, it was more of a minor bowl then. It wasn't what it is now. I mean, now the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl is, and I'm really glad that they put peach back in it. When it was the Chick-fil-A Bowl, that was a nightmare. Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. What is the Peach Bowl's role, and what will it be going forward now with the new 12-team playoff beginning in 24?
Yeah, it's a great question. In 24, we've got a great schedule. In our Aflac kickoff game, we'll have Georgia-Clemson to open the season in 24, 2 top 10 teams. And then we'll have the SEC championship game in early December. Late December, we'll have the first quarterfinal game of the new CFP playoff, where you either have 1, 2, 3, or 4 depending on the buys, playing against another top 10 team in a quarterfinal. That'll be either December 31st or January 1st. And then at the end of that year, we'll host the national championship like January 19th or 20th, somewhere around there. So great 24. 25, we'll start with 2 kickoff games with Tennessee against Syracuse and Virginia Tech against South Carolina. And then we'll host the CFP semifinal game like we did this year with Georgia and Ohio State to end the CFP contract in 2025. Moving forward, CFP has to negotiate with the TV networks to see how many TV networks they're going to have involved. Then they'll negotiate with the bowls. Our goal is to stay a part of that quarter and semifinal rotation, and hopefully to stay a part of the rotation to host the national championship, because we're going to be the first city to host twice. We hosted in 17 and we'll host in 25 the CFP national championship game.
Yeah, and as regarding the SEC championship game, Greg Sankey was asked about it. There's a beautiful new stadium that is proposed that they're going to build here in downtown Nashville. And one of the Nashville media asked, could you see a scenario where that game might rotate? And he cut it right.
I love Greg's answer.
He's like,
I love Greg's answer.
No, it's the quest for Atlanta, and you can't have the road to Atlanta go through Nashville.
Right.
Come to Nashville for basketball. Go to Atlanta for football. They go to Birmingham, Hoover, for baseball.
That's right.
And it seems like the SEC is very much, and they'll be in a rotation at some point in time for a national championship game, but not the SEC championship game.
I could see Nashville with the way the city's moving. It's similar to Atlanta back in the 90s after we had the Olympics. I was in charge of the Sports Council, and we bid on Super Bowls, Final Fours, and got them to come to Atlanta. I could see Nashville with the new facilities, particularly since it's domed.
Yeah.
Getting Final Four, CFP, Super Bowls, etc.
Yeah, it's going to be good stuff. All right, so Aflac Kickoff Classic. It kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit. And I think the more you say it, at least it rolls off the tongue a little bit.
There you go.
Just one game this year.
Just one game. It's an ACC conference game, which is unique.
Which is weird. Yeah.
Georgia Tech, Louisville to open, and then next year we'll get back to the ACC, SEC matchup with Georgia, Clemson, Virginia Tech, South Carolina, Tennessee, Syracuse over the next 3 years.
Got to get Georgia Tech straightened out. You know what I mean? I think it's better for the ACC when there's a good team in
No doubt
Atlanta.
about it.
And it would be really, if they can get that figured out and get back to being competitive, I think that would be
I
a
tell you,
great
Brent
thing.
Key's done a heck of a job when he was interim last year.
Right.
Won I think 5 of 7 games. So I think he'll get it moving a little bit.
Yeah, they made the right decision there, and I think it'll be great.
Yeah.
All right, good catching up with you.
Great to be
Good
with you,
seeing
Tom.
again.
Have a great season.
Yeah, you
Look forward
too.
to seeing you on the road.
You too. Gary
Thank you.
Stoken there from the Peach Bowl, from the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and from the Aflac Kickoff Classic joining us for a few minutes. All right, when we come back, we should have the Hugh Freeze audio coming up next here in just a few minutes, and we'll take a listen to what Hugh Freeze had to say just minutes ago across the hall in the main room. We'll do that next, right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. from SEC Media Days? It might as well be that one. The segment of the show brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage. For all your mortgage needs, it's North Alabama Mortgage, and it doesn't matter whether you're looking at a refi or looking at something new. North Alabama Mortgage can get it done for you, and the rates may be a little higher than they were a couple of years ago, but they're a heck of a lot lower than those rates on those credit cards that you have. So if you want to get rid of some high-interest rate credit cards, you can get that done with North Alabama Mortgage. All right, we are efforting getting the sound together for you for Hugh Freeze. We do not have it together yet, but we should have it together for you here, hopefully in a few moments, and we'll be able to hear what Hugh Freeze had to say. And Grizz, it feels like they are a 6 or 7 win team. It goes back to what I said in the open of the show. Everybody is so positive about where they're going and what they're doing. I see Auburn opening up with 3 wins against UMass at Cal. Auburn has never won a game in the state of California in its history. I mean, how many games have they played in the state of California in their history? I think they played a national championship game there against not against Oregon. I think they played against Florida State. When they lost to Florida State, it was in the Rose Bowl. So, but they've never won a game in the state of California. I think they'll win a game in the state of Florida or in the state of California this year when they go and play Cal week 2. So I think they open up 3-0, and then from there it's 0-3 against at A&M, Georgia at home, at LSU. That puts them at 3-3. I think the whole season comes down to, can you split the 2 games against Ole Miss and Mississippi State at home?
Efficiencies at some.
I think they will get that done, and then they're at Vanderbilt. That's a win. New Mexico State is a win, so that would put them at 6-6. I guess that's how it would go. Now, earlier, Hugh Freeze, just moments ago, he just wrapped up, and I think we can play it from here, is what we're going to be able to do.
And leadership and desire. And so excited to get it started. We've got a lot of questions about exactly how we're going to be, and truthfully, I don't know all the answers to that yet. This is a strange feeling in some ways for me. I've never experienced going into fall camp and having so many unknowns in my mind, whether that's because of the new world of you gained some of your roster from transfer portal world, or you gained it even after spring practice through the portal world, and obviously then summer enrollees come. So there's a lot of things that I'm not quite certain about also, but excited about the opportunity to get to know our team even better. Love our staff. Love the work they've put in recruiting and in trying to improve our roster, and really, really excited about the opportunity to represent Auburn this fall and our great fan base. We've been welcomed, Jill and I and our 3 daughters and their husbands. We could not have asked for a better welcoming to the Plains. What a great place it is to live. And we're excited about putting our roots down there and building this program back to what it's been. It's been only one of 6 programs to play for 2 national championships in the last 13 years, and we want to return to that. And so we're excited, thankful for this opportunity, obviously, to be back in what I think is the greatest program, the greatest conference in college football, representing one of the greatest programs that I think is in college football.
Thank you, Coach. If you have questions, raise your hand. Morgan, Thomas, and Lauren will get a microphone to you. So we'll go ahead and start all the way down the front, right in front of us, Coach. Second row, Bob Holt. Yeah.
We must get Bob first.
That's right.
You don't have to, but I appreciate it. Hugh, you look at the SEC the last several years. There's a lot of coaches like yourself that have had 2 stops, guys like Spurrier and Nick Saban. You could go on and on. When you left Ole Miss, did you have a feeling maybe you could be able to work your way back to Auburn, to the SEC somewhere? What does it mean to you to have done that? And I think you're the 3rd Arkansas State coach to be at Auburn now. I was wondering what you thought about that.
That's all right, let's go back to did I one day, truthfully, when the ending at Ole Miss occurred, it was hard to truthfully process, would you ever get that opportunity again? So I would have to say at that point, no. Obviously, but as time passes and things tend to settle back in and you work through, I tell people all the time, I think that one of the greatest judges of people, and our players included, and the people I come in contact with, are when you experience disappointment, failure, whether it was of your own doing or whether it was circumstances that come into your life, like Luke Deal, who's with us today, he lost his father while being at Auburn. I mean, those are tough circumstances, but how a person responds to those and reacts to those, I think, probably tells you more about them than the successes do. And so I would be less than truthful with you if after we started having success at Liberty, particularly with it just going FBS and us being able to beat the likes of Arkansas and BYU and Virginia Tech and Syracuse and playing close with every Power Five that we played, did the thought start creeping in your mind that certain opportunities might present themselves again? Yes, at that point, but not prior to that point did they enter my mind. And then it's an interesting fact, obviously, that Gus and Brian both were at Arkansas State after my tenure there. And obviously Gus is a dear friend of mine who I talk with about a lot of things, and he's just so complimentary of Auburn and the people and the things that can happen there. So did I answer all your questions? Or?
I think so. Let's go over here to the right side, over to our right, Coach.
Philip Dukes from Auburn Undercover. Coach Freeze, in terms of establishing a culture, as far as being the new coach at Auburn, what was your first order of business or the lowest hanging fruit, so to speak?
I think making sure they knew that it's defined for them. What is our culture? And our culture is based on faith, attitude, and mental toughness, integrity, and love. And what do those things mean to us? And how, faith obviously is that's a word that can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people, and certainly it means something for me. But and the bottom line is, if we are going to reestablish Auburn being what Auburn should be, we must have faith in each other. And that means faith in our administration. It means faith in our coaching staff, faith in the guy that lines up next to you. And that's probably where it needed to begin, because I think that was lost for whatever reason. And I'm not one to, when I don't walk in someone else's shoes, I'm very careful not to judge or not to have an opinion that's not based in something that I really don't know. So but I did sense coming in that the faith in the whole family and of Auburn football was fractured somewhat. And I think that is where I had to start in trying to repair that. Thankfully, I had help with, our new president, Roberts, and John Cohen coming in with me, which I think speaks to our alignment.
Coach, we're going to go straight in front of me, third row.
Good morning, Coach. Michael Giddens, War Report, Auburn. In the spring, you talked about melding your system with Philip Montgomery's system. Where are you guys at with that going into camp? And also with Peyton Thorne coming in after the spring, what's the quarterback battle going to look like this fall with him only having maybe like 10 practices to try to win the job?
Yeah, I met with Philip yesterday, and we're meeting again tomorrow and Thursday. The great thing is, I want to say this the right way. I think once upon a time, I was probably one of the better play callers in college football. Obviously, better players make you a better play caller. I don't know that I was the greatest play caller or one of the best play callers the last few years at Liberty. I managed the game really well and gave our kids a chance to obviously win some huge games. But we were really good on defense, and I kind of played to that. But coming back, knowing what was all encompassing to bring Auburn back, sitting in the chair that I have to sit in, I needed help. And I think the first priority was, hire somebody that does and believes exactly what I believe offensively, which Philip does. And then someone whose terminology is simple as mine, because I do think I need a new terminology, because there's too many people in this league that I've went and talked ball with and probably told too much to, particularly up the road from us on both sides. And so I needed that to be at comfort. And so we're running the same system that I've always run. I wasn't going to get away from that. It's worked for me everywhere I've been. But Philip has helped me with terminology, so has Jake. And obviously brought Ken Austin with me from Liberty, who sits in the room. He's the smartest guy that I know, football-wise, and will be vital in all of that also. But Philip and I have a great understanding. Listen, game planning is a combination of a lot of people that go into it, and we put it on the call sheet, and obviously Philip will be the primary play caller, but obviously I have the right to step in and say, you know what, I need to see something. And the great thing is Philip's been in the head coach's seat and he's been in the coordinator seat, and he gets that. But I have great trust in him, have been very impressed. And obviously it's the same system that we've just melted into his terminology, and I needed that truthfully. I've done my terminology truthfully since high school. And I think I've had too many people get out from under me, and I kind of felt some of that last year at Liberty. I'm excited about having this new, fresh addition to our system in Philip, and obviously not just Philip, but the whole offensive staff. And using their wisdom to help us game plan. But Philip will be he's going to be the play caller, and unless I want to step in and change that in the course of a game, which that happens all the time. All right, quarterback wise, that's going to be a challenge for us. Not because I'm very truthfully a lot more optimistic than most people are. I think we've got a good room. But I'm an optimist, and we've been able to do things with quarterbacks everywhere we've been and produce good enough results to win. And I thought spring practice, we got better there. Obviously, we want to create competition in that room. That's why we brought in Peyton, who's had great experiences. I think what he adds to that room right now is incredible leadership. One of the first things he did is come in and say, Coach, is there any way someone can give me a sheet of paper that has a picture of everyone that works in this building, because I want to learn everyone's name. I mean, that's the type of leader he is. But it's going to create great competition between he, Robbie, and Holden. And obviously I'm excited about Hank Brown too, but he's obviously just a freshman. But Philip and Kent and our offensive staff got to present to me next week a plan of, look, it's impossible to get 4 guys reps in fall camp and get ready for a game. And so I think we've got to have a 10-day plan with 3 guys getting some reps, and then it's got to go down to 2 guys, and hopefully all will handle the competition aspects of it well. But that'll tell us a lot about that room.
Coach, we're going to go in the back in the middle section over on the right-hand side.
Coach, Bryce Kuhn from 24/7 Sports. You talked about the alignment from top to bottom with administration, but just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on where do you feel like Auburn fits in as we get ready to see a new SEC, expanded playoff, all of that, and was that conversations that you had before you took the job?
Yeah, I think in regards to our, I would see us in the upper echelon of this conference, and there's no reason. We have the facilities, we have the support, we have the administration, and you're in an area that football is important, and you're in an area that you can recruit to. And I do think that the 24 and 25 recruiting cycle will tell a large portion of the story of my tenure there. I believe that. Maybe 26, we might get 3 cycles, but we've got to start closing the gap on the elite programs in this conference. And when you add Texas and Oklahoma, that only increases the competition also. But there's a lot of good players. They all can't go to the same school. And obviously the transfer portal world adds another dynamic to it, how good you are at holding on to the ones you do have in your room, and then attracting ones that may go in that can, fill some holes for you. And hopefully we can be very good at that, at creating a culture where our kids want to be at Auburn and want to stay at Auburn. Obviously, Own to Victory is a big factor in that also, in keeping our kids here that have produced and created value for themselves through the name, image, and likeness world. And so all of that's going to play a role in it, but I see no reason why Auburn shouldn't be one of the upper half and competing every year. And look, if you're in the upper half of this conference, you get a break here or there, you're in the playoffs. And then you've got a real chance, and that's where I see Auburn.
Coach, we'll go in the section in front of me alongside the aisle.
Coach Freeze, Drew DeArmond, WZZN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. You've been a great offensive mind and always had a knack for creating explosive plays. And I know after spring, one of the mantras was to add explosiveness to the offense. I wanted to know how you see Brian Battie fitting in, and also Caleb Burton from Ohio State, and how quickly do you teach them your scheme that you just said you've had the same scheme for your entire career?
Yeah, really excited about both those young men you just mentioned. I think Battie, I was really, when we took him, truthfully, I was like, man, this guy's too small to play in this league and run inside the tackles, but he's going to really help us in the return game, and he's really going to help us on some special designed outside runs. And then we get into spring practice and we start running inside zone with him, and the guy's wiggling through holes and falling forward. And man, so I got really, really excited about him, and I think he's going to add great value to us. Caleb Burton, I think his high school tape's phenomenal. Obviously signed with one of the premier programs in the country, and now we're able to get him and have 4 years with him, and hopefully he'll be ready to go and add some playmaking ability to us this year. I think wide receiver wise, for our offense to work that we've always run, we've got to have production there. We've got to be able to win some one-on-ones there, and I think I'm a ways away from saying exactly where I think we are. Two of our better ones didn't go through spring because of injuries, but they seem to be back, and I'm excited to see what they bring in fall camp.
Coach, we'll go straight in front of you, just to your right, Ken.
Good morning, Coach. Ken Capps from Football Writers of America. Your spring theme was flip the script. What needs to be flipped at Auburn?
Yeah, I get that. I teach a series every spring and fall. I have to give Mark Batterson credit for the flip the script plan. I write it to fit my personality and my team, but I get things from him quite frequently, truthfully. But I do ask him. He's a good friend, and he allows me to use his stuff. But the first thing that I think had to be flipped was the mindset, because I really believe as a man thinketh, so he is. And what do we think about ourselves at Auburn? And they had heard so much, and we'll hear so much about what people's opinion are or where you should be picked to finish and all of these things. But man, we first have to rewire the way we think, and that's the first thing that I think needed to be flipped, and that's why I chose that as the spring theme.
We'll stay on that same aisle about 3/4 of the way back.
Hey, Rob Brown, Sideline Sports in Memphis. What are you doing in terms of financial literacy with NIL? You got 18, 19-year-old kids. Suddenly, it's the Beverly Hillbillies. They've got NIL deals, a ton of money, and they've got 30 people back home hitting them up. Are you getting and having those serious conversations? And also, how much is it changing the culture in the locker room when, say, one guy's getting a big NIL deal and the people around him are not?
All right, this one could take a while to answer, but the education part I think is absolutely vital. We're creating a SOAR program within our building that stands for the students and their opportunities that they're getting both athletically, academically, and with the resources that they have. And I have 5 people that work in that arena. They don't have anything to do with football. They have to do with our player development and how are we going to educate them. And we also depend upon, once a deal is done, after they've gotten to our campus and a deal is done with On to Victory, they have an incredible board that is set up with financial advisors that are willing to help them do that. But I tell every kid that I think you're very, very wise if you take us up on the resources we're offering you. And ultimately, they get to make that decision, but I do think you're dead on that if we're not educating them, then, we're just setting ourselves up for even more issues. I think it's incredible that young men get to benefit. Do I think that at some point it needs some more parameters around it? Of course, you've heard that. But I do think that managing the locker room is one of the things that keeps you up at night as a coach right now. I was very candid with our team and said, listen, how many of you wanted the NIL opportunities? How many hands you think went up? All of them. I said, that's great, but you also need to know that it will never totally be fair in your eyes, but accept it as a blessing and be accountable for yours. And will everybody hear that message and accept it? I sure hope so. I think the ones that do are going to have a better chance to have a better team. But that's the reality that we live in, that life is not always fair. And everyone won't look at everybody else in the sports writing world or in the coaching world and feel like, man, I got the fairest deal that he got. And until we start, we need to quit looking at other people, because comparison is the chief enemy of joy, and it'll steal it, and it'll steal from our team. And we've got to focus on, man, the facts are that, man, I'm very blessed that I am getting this education, that I'm getting the opportunities that a collective deal may give me. Man, that is a blessing. And so rejoice in that and go work as hard as you can to get a better blessing.
Coach will go in the section right in front of me here on the aisle.
Hugh, JoeGoodmanAL.com. I've been told by coaches in the game that no one is better at second half adjustments in college football than you are. I was wondering, how do you approach that, and what are your keys to success there? And then I have a follow-up.
Well, what coach said that? I hope was it Coach Saban? That would be nice to come from him. I do think we've been very good at that through the years. We typically have been able to come out and have good adjustments. Truthfully, I always hold a few things till the second half. I don't know if that's wise, that I think are going to be good, but I've instructed our staff, let's kind of hold on that until the second half. But I don't know. I lean on our coaches a lot. It's not just me. It's us getting in and everybody saying this is exactly what we're getting on second down. This is exactly what we're getting on first down. And then you being wise enough to use the analytics that you have to say, coaches are creatures of habits. And if this is what they've done on every second and long, then what is our best call? And that should be the first call we make, the next second and long we get. So, that's not some mystery, or I'm sure other coaches do the same thing, but I don't know. I make my O-line coach change his clothes at halftime if we're not doing well. I don't know if that helps, but I do. Matt Luke started that for me, truthfully. We were losing our first game at Ole Miss to a 1AA opponent, and it wasn't going well, and he changed all of his clothes, and we rolled up a bunch of numbers the second half, and that from that point on, our entire 5 years together, Matt knew he had to change clothes at halftime if things weren't going well.
That include his underwear?
I don't know. You'll have to ask him that. I'll have to spring that on Jake, our O-line coach. I haven't told him that yet.
And then the last question, is Jarquez Hunter going to be available to participate in the beginning of fall camp?
Yeah, I'm not allowed to comment on universities' policies or procedures at this point.
Okay, we'll go over here to our left, third row.
Hey, Coach Hugh Freeze, Jonathan Hoppy with WTVM. When you talked a couple of months ago, you mentioned there about the talent gap between you guys and some of the teams. You think it's maybe too early to tell? Do you have a better idea now? And as you go into fall camp, what kind of things will you look for to try to figure out how close you might be?
Here's what I really believe, and I want to be careful not to. I love our team. They're my team. They're Auburn's team, and we're going to coach the heck out of them. Does our roster from top to bottom look like Alabama's, Georgia's, LSU's, Florida A&M, Ole Miss? I don't know yet. I know a couple they don't because I've watched the tape. But do I think we've improved Auburn with the additions that we've had since I've been there? Yes. Does that mean we closed the gap at all? I have no clue. I do know we improved Auburn. And I hope that means that we somehow close the gap enough to, if we have a good game plan, to be in some of those games in the fourth quarter and have maybe a shot to pull an upset. But it's too early for me to really say, but I do know we improved our roster. but at the same time, they're constantly improving theirs, it seems like.
Coach, we'll go all the way to the back, right in front of the camera, in the back row.
All right, Culver Jones, CFBAD podcast. Couple questions ago, Coach, you mentioned you know who. How important are the games, first of all, against Alabama in the Iron Bowl, and maybe the overshadowed rivalry against Georgia for y'all?
Yeah, I don't think it's overshadowed at all. I mean, the Iron Bowl is what it is, and I don't have to be educated on that. I've been a part of some big rivalries, and I understand that in most polls this would be number one in the rivalry. So I know what it means to the people that support our university and our football program. I won't need to be educated. I've always taken great pride in walking into a new program and saying, listen, they currently are the gold standard, and it's what we want to be. And we welcome that opportunity, and we welcome that challenge. And I have great respect for Nick. He's actually a good friend, and what he's done there. But there's so many good coaches in this league that do such a great job, and many of them do it with less than what others have. But I relish the opportunity to play the Alabamas and Georgias, and I know they're tall task, and I know that they're, who you're going to get measured against in my tenure there. And so I'm excited about those games, as our kids will be.
We have time for a couple more. We'll start with Teresa here in the front.
Coach, Teresa Walker with the Associated Press. You mentioned talking to your players about the NIL and things like that and being in the locker room. For you in your career in wake of Northwestern, what kind of tenor have you tried to set when it comes to the idea of hazing, or how do you treat that team bonding experience to help mold your locker rooms?
Yeah, team bonding should be done for us through our core values, which should represent love for each other, integrity for each other, mental toughness for each other, and we show that in the way we prepare and the way we go about it. But the leadership of the locker room has got to help, all the coaches. And again, I've learned through the years to never, until you walk in the certain situation, I certainly don't have all the facts or the comments or the situation or circumstances. But I know for us, you sure would hope that there has to be accountability from our staff and from the leadership of our team, that we are doing things in a manner that represents our core values that we want to, and how we want to treat people in general.
Coach, we'll take one final question in the section in front of me, about halfway back.
Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South. You said that Greg Sankey has always shot you straight. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, there's never been a time where I had a conversation with Commissioner Sankey that I didn't think he was telling me exactly what the truth was, and probably it had great wisdom behind it. And whether I liked it or not, that was, I always felt like, man, he really has thought through this, and he's really telling me what he thinks is the truth and best, and I respect that with people.
Coach, thank you for your time this afternoon.